one of our clients, John Sales, he had said that if I could get all the people who shell out $7 to see my movies to pay me ahead of time, I'd have enough to make the film. And now we're entering a world where not only is that true and possible, but that serves your distribution.
There's this new development with federal securities law that allows for equity crowdfunding. What both of these tools potentially do is it gives you as filmmakers direct access to a much wider array of investors.
When we're talking about funding documentaries, traditional ways, equity that was being used is investment. Someone's putting in money, and they're hoping that they're going to get a return. And then they're also usually hoping that they're going to have a portion of the back end. They're, in a sense, an owner of the picture with you as the filmmaker. In the old model, you had to go to your friends, family, or ask your colleagues, who can I go to? And what David is saying is, as of today, you can make a posting on your website. You can use Indiegogo, you can use Kickstarter, you can use any method at your disposal to seek equity financing now.
Everything you just said, I have zero interest in because
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Because I don't want one investor. God, I definitely don't want 5,000 investors. So I get the point of making sure that people know about it, and I think that it certainly will be a solution.
Well, as attorneys, we're used to people saying we're not interested in what you're talking about.
I didn't say I wasn't interested in what you were talking about. I'm not interested in the pursuit of any of it because I think that if you look at where people can invest their money, movies probably is not going to be at anywhere near the bottom of the 1% of the 1%. So it's a pretty terrible investment. So to say that we should get 5,000 people to invest in it, I think there's a lot of reasons why you should invest in movies. But making a return on it today is not the reason. I'm a real believer of the power of community. I'm a believer of the power of a great idea. I'm a believer of the power of wanting to be a part of something. And I think that has led to what Kickstarter is. I don't think Kickstarter is successful when you go there to make money. I think it's successful when you need to figure out how to realize an idea that you have. If you already have community, as Gary does, Kickstarter becomes a conduit, a great pipeline for people to get closer to the work that Gary does. People have a bad perception that, oh my God, I need $50,000 or I need $200,000 or now if it goes out of control, I need $1 million. Well, let's go to Kickstarter. Those are the projects that tend to fail. Maybe they succeed, but they actually didn't succeed at what they wanted to do. I think we're in an incredible time where we don't have borders anymore to get our concepts out and our ideas for movies. And people are passionate about being involved in great stories and great storytelling, and there's nothing more powerful than a film. It's why we're here in this room, and there's people that want to be a part of the realization of that project. That passion is what I think we need to tap into. The idea of it being for equity means that now you're beholden to a lot of others. So I don't know how much you wanted me to get into things, but in terms of my response to the Jobs Act, I never cared whether the Jobs Act was going to pass because it has zero impact in what I do.
No, what I'm looking for you to comment on is the filmmaker now has an opportunity to build that audience, whether it's through crowdfunding or equity crowdfunding, and I'm hoping that while they are producing their picture, they now have an audience. And how does that relate to distribution?
Right. So I hate transactional-based situations because I was thrilled that the panel came together because I wanted to sit on a panel with Gary Hustwit because I've been watching what Gary does for years, and Gary is not a transactional filmmaker or distributor. He is a relationship-based filmmaker. He can make a body of work around design because his audience goes from film to film to film. So the fourth project is more powerful than the first project. They're following along his continuum. There is a continuum with his movies. So for me, that's what all of this is about. That's what connects Kickstarter to Facebook and connects Facebook to Twitter, and they're all working together. When they're all separate and they're all transactional, I guess it could work for somebody. Maybe it's going to work for one of you in the audience today to, say, I want to make a movie for $1 million, and I'm going to go on, on some Jobs Act-based community board to do it. That I'm not going to suggest that is not going to work. I don't want anything to do with it. To your point about the promise of it, I agree. We don't have to do those terrible deals anymore. We don't have to, make things that we can't own the relationship with our customers. But that's not based on a transaction. That's based on a deep, deep commitment and relationship. And that's what the internet delivers, is community that is there for you throughout everything that you do. Film is an emotional thing. If you don't get the emotion of a movie, then you shouldn't be a partner on the movie. And if it's based on a transaction, then all you're trying to do is make $1.
I agree with everything that Marc has said. For me, this kind of the idea of crowdfunding and building community and having them enable you to do what you do is goes back to really the independent music scene, where this is not a new thing. It's been happening for decades. Independent bands touring, releasing their own records. When I first started working on Helvetica back in 2006, when I was getting ready to release it, I never even considered trying to get a distributor. My primary concern was just kind of connecting with people who wanted to see this film. I make films really for myself. They're films that I want to see that don't exist. So it's really just connecting with other people who want to see them too. And that's what the internet is there for. So I remember before we'd even released the film, we'd already sold like $75,000 worth of posters and T-shirts and kind of merchandise, and already had, I don't know, maybe 5,000 people on a mailing list. And I think I got the finishing funds for the film by pre-selling screenings, like the premiere screenings that were happening a month after our South by premiere, just pre-selling tickets for them on our website, and we sold those out, and that's how I paid for the color correct and the sound mix for the movie. And then we premiered it, and we got interest from all these Sony Pictures and all these kind of traditional distributors. But I had already connected with the audience for the film. People wanted to see it. And if you can create a demand for what your film is, and connect with the people who are going to be the audience beforehand, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of roll the film out.
And you own the copyright on all your movies, right?
Yeah, well, that kind of maybe circles back to this whole equity investment versus kind of crowdfunding and non-equity. That's I'm trying to be a sustainable filmmaker. I want to be able to make the next movie and the next movie and the next movie. And one of the ways that you can do that is by controlling and owning the rights to your films and being able to license them in different ways, and in ways that you can't even really conceive of today, because in 5 years or 10 years from now, there'll be other ways to get our films out there. So if you own your own film and you don't give away that equity, and you can get them funded just by running a Kickstarter or sending somebody a DVD when it's done, that's much, much, much preferable to owing anyone money back or having them attached as an equity, as an owner of the film for the life of the film. So I started on kind of social media and Twitter really early. I was able to kind of bring people from one film, people who liked one film that I made will probably like the next film and the next film and the next film. But I think what I did was truly involve people in the process. It wasn't just, hey, buy my movie, here's the screening, here it is. I solicited ideas, advice, help. I wanted everyone's help. I wanted the people that were smarter than me in these fields to be like, oh, you got to talk to this person, or oh, this project is really great. And those things ended up in the films. So I don't use social media just as this outreach, push kind of thing. I want that involvement from people that are just as desperate to see the film made as I am desperate to see the films made. And that's the, what kind of Marc was talking about, that it's beyond just transactional. It's involving people in the process in a genuine, organic way and not just sort of a kind of a fake way.